Hello everybody, this is Gamalier, broker realtor with Sturgis Realty Group.
And I'm Alan Rios. I'm the realtor with Sturgis Realty Group right here in Metro Atlanta.
And today, Alan, we have a really good topic, and this is for people who are thinking about investing in property primarily with no money out of your pocket.
That's amazing, right? When you think about it, because I know a lot of folks who are watching are thinking you need like a nest egg somewhere to dip into to purchase investment property, right?
Yes. Most people think that you have to have deep pocket, that you have to have a lot of money to invest in real estate, but there's many ways to invest in real estate. We're going to show you today some of the ways outside the box to invest in real estate.
Yeah, hopefully this information is going to be helpful for you because we've got several ways that you can invest in real estate with no money. Let's start. One way to invest in real estate with no money is by what we call partnership, right? Partnering up with somebody or other people's money. That's what we like to do, right? Using other people's money.
And when we say other people's money, obviously it's other people, or obviously it could be the bank too.
Yeah,
that's not your money. So, but obviously, how do you structure that when we say partners with another person? So you may have no money, but you may have a good credit. So obviously, when you're buying a property, you need a down payment, you need closing costs.
Yeah.
So your partner could come in with the money that you could use towards closing costs and down payment. You come up with the credit. But when we talk about partnership, you have to make sure you do it correctly. You have to have the right contract in place to protect both of your parties. So a lot of times, a lot of problems could become because you didn't do the paper partnership correctly. And there could be a lot of problems because, if there's a payment, who's gonna do it?
Yeah.
If there's repair, who's gonna taking care of that? And depending on the strategy you're doing, whether you're holding the property for long term, which are rentals, or you're flipping the property where it's a short term, you'll fix it and you're gonna sell it. We say these are ways that you could do it, and you just have to make sure that you find the right partner when you're partnering with someone.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you know the person who you partner to make sure that they don't run away with your money or they do something that is not correctly and you end up in a situation.
Negotiation part is really important when it comes to partnering up with somebody.
Yeah, but this is just a way to tell you that there's ways to do it. Just don't give up when you find a good deal. We're gonna talk about other ways to do it, but this is one of the ways that you could do it by partnering with somebody.
All right, let's talk about another way that you can purchase an investment property in real estate with no money, and that's by using what's known as a USDA loan. And basically that's a loan that's under the U.S. Department of Agriculture that provides 100% financing, Gamalier, and it's available for properties just outside the city.
It is, Alan. And this is a really good, loan that a lot of people don't know about, or they don't use it because they think that you have to live like 4 hours in the middle of nowhere. But just to tell you a little bit, here in the Metro Atlanta area, some areas like Hiram, some parts in Dallas, and this particular website that you can look into to see if you qualify, and we can help you with that, what area. But this is again 100% financing that you don't have to have no down payment. So that helps a lot for a lot of people to buy a home, obviously, because you don't have to come with that down payment. It's just have to come up with closing costs. But some of the closing costs could be negotiated by seller concession too. So there's ways you could do it. But also keep in mind, a way that you could do it is normally, if you want to use this as an investment property, you normally have to occupy this property for at least 1 year or more, depending on the bank and their rules. You have to find that out.
That's important.
So after that time, then you could turn around and rent this property, move into another property, or have some cases where people buy, some big land and use that land for, they could rent some of that space for farmers that come in and want to farm in the particular land, or for special events like wedding, they rent the space. So there's different ways to create income with some of these type of properties. So we just want to show you some of the ways you can create some income.
And staying on the loan topic, another way that you can invest in real estate with no money, Gamalier, is by using a VA loan. Now, obviously, a VA loan is something that you have to be tied in with the military, right? When you think about a VA loan, it's under the Department of Veteran Affairs. So you have to be an active duty service person. a veteran, you could be an eligible serving spouse. And the good news about a VA loan, Gamalier, no down payment, and I love this part,
nice.
no private mortgage insurance.
I love that too.
Yes, I do.
So better payment, yeah. I mean, every ass up. I would say that having no PMI on a loan is really good.
Important.
And the only way to skip PMI is putting 20% down in most loans. So
we're talking about buying or investing in real estate with no money. So,
yes,
that's another option there.
And obviously, when you do BA, the biggest benefit, like he mentioned, is 100% financing, where you don't have to put a lot of down payment, and you're just looking at the closing costs. And again, for this particular property, you have to occupy the home, so you can't buy it as an investment property. But the good thing about BA loan, obviously, is the low cost also. And also, a big part that people don't know about BA loan is that they're very lenient in credit, meaning that if you have a lower credit score, a lot of times you could still qualify for this type of loan. And you could do the same thing, you could actually rent a room in your house if you're trying to create additional income. That's one way to create additional income. And normally a VA loan, when you do a VA loan, you actually also have to stay in the home for a certain amount, normally a year plus, before you move out and you could rent this property. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But there's different ways to create income when it comes to having, using a loan and having a home. So we just want to give you different ideas so you could see that you could definitely create opportunity when it comes to buy a property with no money.
Hey, and I've got another way that you can invest in real estate. Investment real estate with no money, Gamalier. I'm not sure a lot of people have thought about this. Seller financing.
Yeah.
Right?
What is seller financing? A lot of people may be asking that.
Basically, the seller acts as the bank, right? So obviously you need a willing partner who would be willing to act as a bank, because you're going to be making payments to the seller, right? They're financing the home for you, basically.
You pretty much, the way you structure it is, obviously, like I mentioned, you got to find a seller who's willing to finance, to finance their property. What they're going to do is they're going to sell you the house based on payment, and you're going to be paying, instead of paying the bank, you're going to be paying the seller. And this is negotiable between the seller and the buyer. But obviously, you could actually, this happens every day. Seller financing does happen. A lot of people think, no, it sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, no, it happens.
But there is a lot of sellers who are willing to do that for many purposes. It could be taxes purposes. They don't want to pay. They want to keep the house. They don't want to sell it and pay profit margins on then the profit. Or it could be that they need to move and they can't sell this property for what they own too much of the property. You could step in, finance the home from them, keep paying the mortgage and paying it directly to the seller, and you could put the contract together, and that could be your home. So there is definitely
and it benefits
opportunity.
both parties.
Yes, and one big thing about that is that you don't need to have perfect credit. That's another thing. And also you could establish where you don't need to put no money down, in some cases, or as little as $500. So there's a way to structure also to buy a home with no money down, and this is a really good way to do that.
Yeah, and we've got another way that you can invest in real estate with no money, and it's a term that we use known as hard money, and basically that's a short-term loan. It's a non-conforming loan, so it's used for investment properties, so not from your traditional lender, Gamalier, right? And you can also use other people or private companies to lend you money as well.
Yeah, and normally the way this is, like I mentioned, it's not a bank. It's not a traditional bank, so the traditional banks are going to do all this screening, with the screening for credit, income, and looking at everything, your blood type and everything.
It feels like that sometimes, right?
So, that's how people feel, unfortunately, when they're buying for the first time. But this traditional hard money lender is normally people who are acting as the bank. So it could be an individual that has a lot of money and are lending to earn interest on their money, or it could be another group of people or private company that have a money amount and they're lending it. And normally they're a little more lenient again when it comes to the credit. They don't care as much to the credit as much as the deal, the numbers. They're looking at the particular property. If you're looking to flip it, does it make sense that the number is going to sell for the amount that you expected? Or if you're holding it for long term, does this property have enough equity on it? It's enough value? So it's a little different than the traditional bank. So hard money is another way. Keep in mind, it's a more risky investment for the people. So normally they're going to have a higher fee and higher interest rate on it.
Yeah, so that's another way to look at it, using hard money. And if that doesn't suffice, we've got another way that you can invest in real estate with no money, and that's using a home equity line, right? Or equity line of credit. That's an option. And obviously you have to own a home first, right?
And Alan, this is a good way to do, obviously, because a lot of people are holding equity in their property, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And it's just money that you have parked in your home. And sometimes, obviously, the market changes. You can't, and you want to access that money, you can't anymore because you no longer have equity either.
Yeah, that's true.
So in some cases, but obviously in this time of day, because of the market doing so good, a lot of people are holding good equity in their home. And this just park money they have there is not working for them. So one strategy to do is getting access to a home equity loan or home equity line. The difference between the two is that home equity loan is the loan that you get. So if you're borrowing $50,000, you do payments on that $50,000. But versus an equity line of credit it kind of acts like a credit card.
Yeah.
You take, they give you access to $50,000, but you only pay for what you use. So if you only use $20,000 out of that $50,000, you only make payments based on the $20,000 versus the $50,000 on the equity loan.
All right, that's a great way to describe the difference between a home equity loan and an equity line of credit. And another way that you can invest in real estate with no money, we've got a lot of options for you out there, right?
Yes, we do.
Credit cards. And you're thinking,
I
can use my MasterCard, Visa, or American Express card.
Very high rate.
Well, we're talking about a cash advance from your credit card,
Yes.
right? And you're probably thinking the interest rates are astronomical. They are typically high, but sometimes you can talk to your credit card company and negotiate the rates on the cash advance. Or if they don't work with you on that, you can actually open up another credit card. And they usually have some special deals, right? When you open up a new credit card that you can take advantage of.
And obviously this particular strategy is a short-term strategy. Yes. You don't want to borrow money from a credit card for a long term because you're definitely going to be able to pay a lot of interest rate. And you have to negotiate and really take your time to shop around, look some deals that may offer 0% for a certain amount of period. Maybe a flip that you use in the down payment, but it's not a long-term strategy. This is a short-term strategy, and you really need to know your numbers that the deal that you're trying to buy makes sense.
Sure.
You really need to study and work with professional realtors that know about investment, they know about the number, and what I call it calculated risk. You know about the number before you go into that. You don't want to jump into something and try to do all these strategies that we're talking about without not having a good knowledge of each strategy. So you definitely have to talk to a professional when you're doing these strategies to make sure that you don't make, there's definitely risk in all these strategies. There's risk involved. But you have to do calculated risk, get as much knowledge you can, and work with people that could advise you and help you work through each strategy that we're talking about.
Yep, that is one way. As you mentioned, a little risky, but it's an option out there if you're looking to invest in real estate with no money. Lastly, we've got what's known as wholesaling. And you're probably wondering, what is wholesaling? Well, it's a process of finding a deal and then passing it along to an investor, right? Yeah,
and this is one of the easiest way to get into real estate investing is doing wholesaling. And pretty much what you're doing is you're finding a deal. Let's say, for example, you live in a particular area and you know certain houses in the area. You may not know of a seller who's looking to sell their property. The house may need some repair, so they're willing to sell it for under market value. And you could tie it up to an investor who's looking to do a flip in that neighborhood, and you bring it to them. They will pay you a fee just for bringing that deal to them. They will end up buying it, fixing it, and reselling it to create some profit. And the way, again, that you make money here is normally it's a fee. In some cases, you can negotiate a percentage, but normally it's a fee the investor is willing to pay you for bringing a deal. Yeah, so great information there. And those were just some of the ways that you can purchase investment properties with no money. So hopefully the information we provided you will help you decide what's the best way for you to invest in real estate with absolutely no money. And again, here at the Sturgis Realty Group, we specialize in working with investors all through Metro Atlanta. Whether you're someone who's thinking about investing for the first time, we offer a free consultation. We can sit down and break together a plan for you. Or if you're someone who's sophisticated, who has several portfolios for property, we can sit down and look at your portfolio and talk about it and work a strategy to be more profitable with your rental property and with your flip. So we definitely would love to help you. Or if you're someone who have a wholesale, who's wholesaling and have a good deal, you want to present, we would definitely send it to us and we were able to present it to a lot of our investors and maybe help you out with that too.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a local investor. We can deal with investors out of state, even out of the country. So
yes,
just contact us. You can reach us by phone or leave a comment or suggestion below this video. We'll reach back to you.
So I hope this information again was helpful to you. Again, we're here to help you out, and we're here in the Metro Atlanta area. We'd love to help you, but like Alan mentioned, if you're out of state, we could connect you with a realtor investor with experience in the area where you're at also.
All right, thank you for watching. We will talk to you next time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bueno, sí.